Thanks for that intro, EMS. Good morning, and welcome to EMS History News. I'm Clay Azus. Today, we'll see how the Civil War got its start, not at Fort Sumter, but in Kansas. For our first story, we'll see how Kansas Territory came to be.
In 1820, there were 11 free and 11 slave states, making sure neither side had power over another. But when a new state, Missouri, wanted to enter the Union, it would have thrown the struggle for power off balance. There was a lot of arguing on what the country should do, but eventually we decided on letting Missouri be a slave state and also adding Maine a free state, thus keeping the balance of power with 12 states on each side.
30 years later, as part of the Compromise of 1850, the Fugitive Slave Law was passed. This stated that anyone who found a runaway slave must report them and have them returned to their owners. This increased the importance of the Underground Railroad, which was a system of people breaking the law by helping slaves escape to the North and start their own lives as free people.
Then, in 1854, the Kansas-Nebraska Act was passed. It had split the original Nebraska into two separate territories, Kansas and Nebraska. This made more farms possible and had brought the Transcontinental Railroad. Other topics came, like popular sovereignty, which meant each state could choose to be a slave or a free state, based on their population.
The Kansas-Nebraska Act is important because it caused many people to pass over the state border illegally. They came across to vote for the state's slavery outcome. These people were called border ruffians. They were frowned upon because they are pro-slavery activists, sometimes attacking Kansas. Border ruffians attacked free state settlements. The violence is known as the origin of the phrase Bleeding Kansas.
So, all this violence over getting to vote over slavery, wow. In this next report, let's go to the home base of abolitionist forces in Lawrence. Riley's on the side of the recent violence there. Riley?
Thanks, Clay. I'm in Lawrence, the site of attack by bushwhackers from Missouri. As you can see, there is massive damage. The two abolitionist printing offices were hacked, the presses destroyed, and the types were thrown into the river. The planned work was finished by destroying the Free State Hotel. The first shot was fired from a cannon on the opposite side of Massachusetts Street by David Rice Atchison, but it failed to hit the building. About 50 shots were fired, with little effect upon the solid wall. Then the posse attempted to blow it up. It took several attempts until it was finally destroyed. Only one injury and one death occurred in the raid. Back to you, Clay.
Thanks, Riley, for that report.
The sacking of Lawrence even led to violence on the floor of the United States Senate. Senator Charles Sumner of Massachusetts gave a speech entitled "The Crime Against Kansas." During this speech, he insulted Senator Andrew Butler of South Carolina. 2 days later, South Carolina Representative Preston Brooks, Senator Butler's nephew, used his walking cane to beat Senator Sumner. Senator Sumner wouldn't be able to return to the Senate for 4 years due to his injuries. No charges were ever brought against Representative Brooks.
Let's take a look at the most famous person to come out of Bleeding Kansas. Who was John Brown?
I was born in Connecticut on the day of May 9th, 1800. Yes, I would. Yes, I'm very religious. I worked on the Underground Railroad. I took them to Canada. So that I could participate in the border warfare between Kansas and Missouri. I wanted to make sure that Kansas would become a free state.
John Brown would become famous as Osawatomie Brown after he and a couple of his sons killed a pro-slavery family as revenge for an attack on Free State forces. He would leave Kansas as a celebrity in abolitionist circles, but did not find wide support for his next plan. In October 1859, he led a raid on Harper's Ferry, Virginia, with the hope of starting a slave rebellion. He was captured and brought to trial for treason. He was found guilty and hanged on December 2nd, 1859.
John Brown's body lies a-mouldering in the grave. John Brown's body lies a-mouldering in the grave. His soul goes marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah.
And that's about all we have on Bleeding Kansas for today. But before we go, women in their clothing played an interesting role in the conflict. One man put one of his wife's dresses on to escape bushwhackers, and another time a woman was able to take advantage of her full skirts to sneak a barrel of gunpowder into Lawrence. Now that's some explosive fashion. Have a great day.
John Brown's body lies a-mouldering in the grave. John Brown's body lies a-mouldering in the grave. John Brown's body lies a-mouldering in the grave, but his soul goes marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. But his soul goes marching on. The stars above in heaven are looking kindly down. The stars above in heaven are looking kindly down. The stars above in heaven are looking kindly down on the grave of old John Brown. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah.